bring in House Committee on Ways and Means Chairman and Texas Congressman Kevin Brady is with us right now. Congressman, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. So let's talk about where you begin now. How critical is the passage of tax reform following the latest setback on the health care overhaul? We're going to get to the budget first, but this is incredibly critical.
So the short answer is even more critical than ever. Look, we got to get this economy going in a big way. This is a major. We're continuing to see companies move offshore. We're just not seeing the economic growth. There's so many young people have no opportunities when they leave school, and so we have to deliver on this. And obviously, there's no way to spin in a good way what happened in the Senate this week. It doesn't make it easier, but I'll tell you what, we're on pace to deliver in 2017. Getting distracted isn't an option for us. In fact, we've run this parallel, just second track on tax reform nearly since the day after President Trump was elected.
I know you have.
Yeah, we're going to keep moving.
And I know you've been having meetings side by side as you've been efforting health care. But how are you going to do it, Congressman? I mean, let's face it. Look what you're up against here. You don't have any Democratic support. You've got real divisions within the Republican Party. First, you've got to get through the budget. So tell me what's going on today in terms of budget reconciliation to give you that green light toward tax reform.
So today is really important because the Budget Committee, led by Chairwoman Diane Black, who's doing a remarkable job, gives the passage today in the committee gives us the green light, the vehicle to deliver tax reform this year. The president's desk is critical. This is not a normal budget because this is in effect the tax reform budget, and really important. So today matters.
All right, today matters. What are you going to do in terms of all of the divisions? We saw the divisions in health care, and we know that there's still debate within the tax conversation, border adjustment tax, deductions, what stays, what goes away. Are you still married to the border adjustment tax?
So I'm married to solving the problem of stopping companies from moving offshore, or more importantly, creating the right incentives for bringing those supply chains home. And that's where the White House, Senate Republicans, we are all focused on solving that problem. And at the end of the day, whether border adjustment is part of that solution or whether it's set aside for future study and we've agreed on an alternative, we're going to solve that problem of offshoring in a positive way.
So do you need revenue in a tax reform package? Do you need some form of revenue, whether it's border adjustment tax or something else, maybe a higher corporate tax rate than we're talking about?
Well, so we want to make this permanent. We really think we're going for the long game here, make sure the decisions businesses make to reinvest in the U.S. are certain for them. And so that requires us to balance within the budget. Over 10 years, we can do that, but we got to make some serious trade-offs, or at least we have to be creative as we're thinking about how we lower the rates. So we've got to do all of that.
What are the trade-offs, Congressman?
Well, you've just got to look at where the revenue comes from in the tax code. And bottom line is, we have to ask ourselves a basic question. For us to become competitive again, to leapfrog back into the lead worldwide so companies can compete and win anywhere in the world, including here at home, we need the permanence and the lowest rates possible. And that means we have to think about jettisoning specific provisions that benefit some so we can lower the rates and become competitive for all. And that's always the challenge in tax reform. In final point, all these debates, whether it's border adjustment or interest, these are healthy debates.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we ought to be having in this discussion.
They're all healthy debates. It was healthy debates on health care as well. What do you do for Medicaid? What do you do for big governments? I mean, I
think the difference here in lessons learned from health care is the fact that the President agreed to work with the House and Senate on a unified, a single tax reform plan, and then have put in the work. President Trump and his team have put in the work right now on this. I think this is time well spent and increases our chances for success this year.
Let's educate our viewers on exactly what you're looking for from them in terms of their individual rates. Because a moment ago you said to me, look, when you talk about the trade-offs, you have to say to yourself, where does the revenue come from? Isn't it true that much of the revenue is coming from individual tax rates?
Well, on the
you want to lower them.
So on the individual side, clearly we are proposing a simpler, fair system, so much so 9 out of 10 Americans will be able to file using a postcard system. And so we're asking that question, how fair and how low do you want your rates to go? On the business side, really I think there's broad agreement. Broaden the base, lower the rate, become far more competitive than we are today. And the work that we're doing with the White House and Senate, I'll just tell you this, I really like the pace and the substance of what we're discussing right now. I think this time both the tax teams and the principals in the White House and Senate, these are exactly discussions you want us to be having to come to a unified plan.
So the individual tax rates, you'd like it to be 3 brackets?
Yeah, if possible.
What are the rates that you would favor?
So we proposed a 12, 25, and 33 rate in the House blueprint. The Trump team is an original tax plan, very close to that. And so we started with very solid common ground on the individual rates.
But now there's this discussion that, look, it looks bad if you cut rates on the rich. That maybe you leave 39.6% where it is, which is the current top rate in terms of individual tax. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys. I think we need to go for growth. That's what we want in this tax code, up and down the line, and lowering rates for Americans, regardless of where they're at, is pro-growth. Encouraging more savings investment for Americans is awfully pro-growth, and the business side as well. We do this right, I think we unlock the economy in a major way.